All right. Think we're ready? Yes, we are. All right. 1 second. Just gonna. Close that, close that, close that. Okay. I think we're good. Hello, hello. Perfect. Thank you, Daytona. Awesome. Real quick. Just gonna send this to the chat. So, yeah. I quickly wanted to first of all, how are you guys? But I just wanted to quickly talk about Ethereum from the last week's live stream. I mentioned to you guys pretty much at around 39.51. I had a whole stream about Ethereum and the generational play and exactly what we're looking for. And you can see that pretty much from that move set, we got the breakout 39.51. We saw the squeeze going all the way up into the 43.72 level, and now we're starting to see rejection. Now, there's a few things that we want to keep in mind, and of course, we don't want to assume the fact that this is now just going to be a larger corrective move. But if we look here on the daily time frame and the weekly time frame, I wanted to talk about a few things, right? Number one is right now we are in extreme overbought conditions. And you want to be very cautious looking for continuation longs, mostly at the current price range we're seeing. If you look here for previous price analysis, this will give you a better understanding of where exactly Ethereum is going next. And you can see that the first few wicks were exactly at 43.72. So if we just look past to the previous bull run, you can see from 2021, 43.72 hit, we saw a corrective move going back down into 3,700. And this again, it was a daily time frame. So this isn't a one-day drop. Then you can see we saw the continuation, and that was the first leg towards the downside. Then came the secondary option, and I think personally, I think this is where we are at. To give you guys a better perspective, where we're looking for possible corrective moves is right now you can see from previous price analysis, we saw a hit into 43.72, saw the EMA bounce, and then broke 43.72, wicked exactly into 44.77, saw the corrective move, then it was the all-time high trade. So I think we're somewhere around this region as of right now, so somewhere right around here for the current price of Ethereum itself. And if we look here on the current range, you'll notice a few things as well. Number one, we are still above the exponential moving averages, right? So this is where you don't look for shorting opportunities. And if we are following the previous price analysis, we're looking for some sort of corrective move down into 40.28. 40.28, of course, was a major resistance. Ideally, it should be acting as a major support. And what's going to happen most likely is a lot of traders here are going to become bearish and say the bull run is over. You'll notice a lot of bearish threads being posted around the 40.28. But of course, for those of you that have been watching the streams, you guys will understand that this simply is the corrective move for the next leg opportunity. Now, this doesn't have to happen. Once again, this does not have to happen. We can easily see Ethereum actually continue breaking out, and the reason for that is this is now still the 7th test on the weekly and daily time frame. When you have that many retest opportunities on a weekly level, the higher chance of it actually breaking, it becomes a lot higher. This is just an area for us right now to be monitoring. What that means is we're not looking for any sort of trading opportunities in this zone. Instead, we're just going to see how Ethereum plays out. If we can somehow break above 43.72, the market will tell us that, of course, we are most likely looking for a continuation into 44.77. But if we do end up just consolidating, then my suggestion to you guys is to wait and see what happens at 40.28. Once again, this does not mean that if, for example, in Asia hours, the market drops to 40.28, that is not a long opportunity. You do not want to be the person that catches a falling knife. Instead, this is the best case scenario for us. We see a corrective move down to the daily 40.28 level in the 9 EMA. We see longs come back up, you retest the support, and then, of course, it becomes the third test opportunity on the momentum trade. We break the third test, we see the squeeze, and then we are now looking for the all-time high on Ethereum. Question becomes is what happens after all-time high? And that's where pretty much things are most likely go within the next 2 or 3 weeks. We have to be very careful here because if you guys remember from Bitcoin's all-time high, as soon as we broke it, we actually saw quite a bit of chop opportunity before the leg opportunity overall. So how would I trade it per se? If I'm looking for an all-time high trade, let's assume 48.65, which of course was the all-time high on Ethereum. if we end up seeing a break, there's going to be a lot of volatility. Number one, it's going to be a ton of people offloading their bags thinking that, oh my God, all-time high is here for Ethereum. I don't know if this level is ever going to happen again. It's time to sell everything, right? And a lot of people are going to be looking to take profits in that zone. That's what's going to cause the volatility. What I'm thinking most likely happens is we see a break to all-time high. We see a fake out, so around 5,000, 5,100, we see a fake out, and then the next leg continuation. What's going to happen though here is where the most amount of money is going to be made for a lot of you guys, and this is where I want you guys to pay attention. From previous 2021, so from the previous run up, or even let's not even say 2021, I will say 2023. For those of you that remember from my channel, from 2023, we saw a mini NFT and mini alt season run when Ethereum hit 4028 and we were started to consolidate within that zone. Right now, we've actually broken above that level, but you can still see across the board, Cardano, XRP, Dogecoin, Litecoin, Solana, we're not seeing the volume come into altcoins just yet. And this is where opportunity comes from. A lot of you guys are going to make a lot of money, assuming that Ethereum does, once it breaks up all-time high, all that money is going to end up trickling back into the market one way or another. So that's where you pretty much want to be paying attention to for possible V-shaped formations or daily, weekly levels for just in general on any of these trade setups, right? And you can see that right now, for example, a lot of these coins are just sideways action. If you were to zoom out on the chart, even for Doge, you can see that we've pretty much just been consolidating at the peak of 28 and at the lows of 16 cents. When these coins do end up breaking out, I don't think the market is going to give folks the opportunity again to look for dips. Just like on Ethereum, I warned you guys that, hey guys, Ethereum is consolidating on a larger time frame. And when we do break, the market is not going to give you the dips that you're looking for. And that's exactly what happened as of right now. You can see the market is pretty much consolidating, next leg, consolidation, next leg. And that's how you know it's an uptrend. So if I'm looking for trading opportunities right now on Ethereum, all I'm going to be looking for is the wick break. Because again, every time the market structure ends up breaking wick, it's a nice continuation. The mistake a lot of people make is, of course, when it enters near weekly levels. You have to understand that when you're trading on weekly time frames, the closer you get to that resistance, the harder the rejections are. You can see that yesterday we saw a wick into 43.52. I woke up to a $200 corrective move, which of course I did warn you guys in Asia hours. Hey guys, Asia hours are pretty volatile, be careful. And then I woke up and the market saw a bounce from 4,100 all the way into 4,300. The larger we go in terms of time frames, the more volatility is going to happen. What that means is if we're trading on a weekly level, these $200, $300 moves on Ethereum are going to be normal. And that's where a lot of you guys need to understand that high leverage plays is not going to work in these sort of situations. Yes, it is true if you can possibly catch the break at 43.72 and you get the squeeze, then yeah, you can definitely ride it into all-time high, right? But a lot of times it's better to just be quick in and out of these trade opportunities because again, the market's already volatile. You don't need to go high leverage for volatility. The market's already giving you that, right? We're seeing $300 moves across the board on Ethereum. Why do you need to be 100x leverage? It makes no sense to me, but again, if you want to trade like that, cool. My personal recommendation, and again, I told you guys this before too, is wait for the weekly levels to break. 39.51, for example, you saw the break. We saw this candle squeeze, 39.51 on the dot. So you see, in terms of resistance followed by support, on the dot, we saw a $100 move. That was a guaranteed trade setup for Ethereum. And again, I'm giving you guys the same trade once again. 43.72 breaks long into 44.77. It's going to be about a $90 to $100 trade. And the reason why is there's a huge gap on Ethereum. There is a ton of resistance as of right now, 43.72. But if we break, there's no resistance until 44.77. And people ask, how did you get to that? How do you know that there's resistance and there's not resistance? Well, all you really need to do is just look at the daily time frame. And if you look at the daily from previous run-ups, from the all-time high aspect of it of 2021, it'll tell you a story. And I told you guys this, the Wix will always tell you a story. And the story right now is, if you look at it from this perspective, is we hit 43.72, cool. We rejected 43.72, cool, right? So we're in this current stage right now. We dropped down to around 39.12. So around whatever, if you want to say fake out Wix to around 40.28 or 39, whatever. Then what happened is you can see the market actually broke 43.72, and on the break, we rode it up into the 44.77 region, right? Give or take around 44.65, so $7, $8 off, no big deal. There was volatility, right? There was quite a bit of volatility on 44.72. So you can see 44.72 down to around 41, then back up. But when the market structure broke 44.72, you can see just how parabolic things got, right? We broke, retest support, broke, and then there was major resistance. So that's pretty much where we're at right now in terms of Ethereum, is somewhere along the break of resistance to all-time high. This is another massive opportunity, but this is going to be a lot harder than 39.51. And the reason for that is because it's a weekly level. On weekly levels, there's a lot more manipulation. So right now you can see Ethereum is bouncing on the exponential moving averages. A lot of you guys are saying, Pingu, what do we do? Should we long? Should we short? And again, I've told you this. When it's consolidating, there's no reason to trade. You're waiting for the wick break to enter a long. Wick doesn't break, you are not entering a long. There's no reason for you to enter a long. There's no reason to guess. Because if you start taking long positions here, and market says, you know what, screw this guy, see ya, and we drop to 40.28, it's a $250 drop. And now you're panicking and saying, oh my God, I just longed the top. Well, you wouldn't have longed the top if you just didn't trade in this consolidation. And this goes for across the board, right? We're talking Dogecoin, anything. Everything right now is, there's no trade opportunities. I told you guys on the weekend, and I said, hey, look, if Doge ends up breaking above this wick right here at around 0.248, we take a long position. Doge never even got close to that zone, right? And I sent it right after this corrective move. We got here to 0.242, and now we're seeing a drop. A lot of times people force trades for no reason, and that's the biggest problem, is when you're forcing trades mostly on leverage near a weekly resistance level for a lot of these altcoins, is how you end up losing a lot of money. And that's why I tell you guys, sometimes I will not send anything in Telegram for multiple days because there's no setup. The only time I will take a trade right now on Ethereum is if we can somehow break above 43.72. If we can break above that zone, I know that this is now going to be the third test opportunity. And this is where things get interesting. Just real quick, guys, before we end off here, I want to explain something and what I've noticed over the past few years and what can happen easily for a lot of these weekly zones. When the market starts to trade like this, you see how it's like the range is getting tighter? What I mean by that is look at the exponential moving averages. Do you see how they're starting to push higher and higher? While we start getting tighter and tighter from resistance, you can see the market hits, bounce, hits, bounce, hits, bounce, hits, bounce. 9 out of 10 times, the market actually sees a squeeze. And not just any squeeze, a massive squeeze. There is, of course, slow ladder case up, elevator down. So slow ladder case up and the elevator down. And that's the worry part. But in order for you to, of course, not be the elevator down, you just wait for the wick break. That pretty much eliminates the risk aspect of it for you guys to be entering or longing at the top. Because what's going to happen here is if, again, assuming the market breaks above back to 43.72, if we can get another break above this wick, then this would become the third test. All of these guys here, all these guys right here are shorting right now. If the market breaks above, shorts get squeezed, we start hitting into weekly levels, a lot of people are going to be unhappy shorting Ethereum. And that's why personally, I'm not shorting. Instead, we're just going to wait for the wick breaks. And again, across the board, guys, altcoins, meme coins, NFTs for Ethereum are going to go parabolic. And I've talked about this many times before too. Look at meme coins on Ethereum. Look at NFTs on Ethereum. If you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm missing out on Ethereum, you can position yourself in order to get the most out of it when Ethereum does end up breaking its weekly levels. And what I mean by that is Ethereum as an ecosystem in general will see boom across the board. It's like Solana when Trump had his coin and Solana hit $280, a lot of meme coins went parabolic, but leading up to that, right? Everything went parabolic. Obviously, for Trump itself, we saw a massive nuke across the board, but leading up to the past 2 months when Solana continued to rally, we saw some insane figures on meme coins and NFTs, insane figures, right? We saw FWOG go up to 700 million market cap, Popcat, Dog with Hat, everything. It was just going crazy at the time, and that's why is when the leader is doing its thing, everything else will follow. And I'm telling you guys again, right now the leader is Ethereum, right? You can look at Sol to ETH, and that chart looks disgusting, is because Ethereum is leading the way. And as Ethereum leads, the money will move to Ethereum as well. Always follow the money. And in my opinion, again, I really do think that coins like Pengu and Pudgies and, Mog and whatever, I'm just naming stuff that are obviously on Ethereum that are larger, you're gonna want to be positioned accordingly because you're gonna see a lot of money outflow into these kind of things. In general, Ethereum is going to lead the way. And then, in my humble opinion, and again, I've led you guys this far, and I'm going to be 100% transparent with you, I think we're at the last part of the bull run. What that means is, the big gains on Bitcoin are done. Now Ethereum is rallying, and everyone's saying, oh my God, Ethereum. What's going to happen after Ethereum is Cardano, XRP, Doge, everyone's going to have a blow off top, right? We're going to see massive rallies across the board. Litecoin is going to go close to all-time high, right? We're going to see Litecoin, the dinosaur coin, all of a sudden wake up. And that's pretty much it. That's the end of the bull run. And then we're going to start seeing some massive wicks towards the downside. People are going to be like, and again, it's not going to be clean, right? So if we analyze the previous bull run and to the bear market, it was not clean. It was disgusting, right? And you can see, I'll give you guys a perfect example of this. So look at the previous bull run and what happened. So it by no means was this clean or fair to anyone, and that's the point of a bull run. You'll never be that person that catches the top. There might be a select few that got lucky and shorted the top and just said, okay, I'm just going to ride this thing down. But you can see that it was not clean, right? We saw the blow off top all the way down, and now I think we're somewhere up here in terms of Bitcoin to all-time high. And again, I think we're on the second leg opportunity, where the second leg was higher than the first, and then, of course, we saw the capitulation wicks and then towards the downside. The biggest deciding factor, of course, was the exponential moving averages. So that's pretty much what I studied for the past few years, is how did I know when things to reverse? Was the EMAs all of a sudden went from support, and then all of a sudden they flipped to resistance. And it's not just going to be a one candle, right? So a lot of times the market starts trading below the EMAs, and people are like, oh my God, Pinky, it's below. Should we short? Should we short? No. It's going to be a week long. It's going to be a week long after a major resistance, and we're going to see a lot of volume come into the market on shorts. That, to me, will probably be the end, and I do think that, in general, a lot of people are going to get burned unless you start taking profits along the way. And I've been saying the same thing, right? So now, I warned you guys about Ethereum down here at around the 38,700, 3,800. I said, look, Ethereum is going to head up into all-time high probably within the next 2 weeks. Now we're seeing Ethereum head into all-time high, and the next question is going to be, okay, now what do I do, right? And what do I do now? What do I do now? Guys, have a goal in your mind. Have a goal. Hey, if I hit this much money, I'm going to close all my trades and leave. You guys saw my troll position? It was like 300 grand or something I made on troll. And I'm delusional as hell, right? I just kept buying. And if I held it for another 2 weeks, I could have made $1 million. But guess what? I hit my goal, and I said, cool, if I ever make 300 grand again, I'm gone. And I hit my goal. I'm like, see ya, right? Because again, to me, that was my goal off the meme coin. Now I'm just chilling. I do perps, and I don't really need to do anything else, and I'm in Pudgies. I have positioned myself for the next run opportunity, and that is going to be on Ethereum, and I do think NFTs. And when that happens, that's pretty much nearing the end of the bull run. And the reason why I know this is because I've done this for 8 years. It's my third cycle. And the cycles play perfectly, right? Everyone grave dances on Ethereum, then Ethereum rallies, and everyone grave dances on NFTs, then NFTs rally, and then meme coins, and then that's when you start seeing those TikTok chicks start doing podcasts on it and be like, yeah, I think crypto's doing pretty well nowadays. And that usually there's signs, right? There's always going to be signs. But again, I'm not going to be the person that's going to be sitting here and telling you, okay, guys, I think at 124,342 Bitcoin's going to top. I'm not going to be that person. I'm here to make money. I'm here to make you guys money. And at the end of the day, as long as the market trades above the EMAs, as long as the volume is there, we're making money. I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, guys, I think that if Bitcoin hits 130,000, it's time to enter shorts, because no one's right like that. You're better off just trading with the market. And when the market starts seeing those rejections and the market starts telling you like, hey, we're seeing those cascades, it's time to exit. That's all. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for coming. 20 minutes. I just wanted to kind of explain to you guys where we're at in terms of trades. Everyone needs to understand that not the time right now to be greedy. It's more of the time to just chill, vibe out, let the market do its thing. I appreciate you guys coming, and I appreciate you guys listening. Again, I will, like I said, I promise you guys I'll do a live stream once a week. I've been holding that promise. And I will make a Doge video tonight. I don't make Doge videos on weekends because then, that doesn't make sense if I'm not trading on the weekends or I'm making a video about it. But I will make a Doge video tonight. I will upload levels for you guys. So again, for tonight's homework, everyone, we're watching 43.72. That's it. if the market doesn't break 43.72, I do not want to see messages on Telegram saying, Pingu, what do you think I should do about this? What do you think I should do about that? Because I'm not going to reply to those. And I've told you guys this before too. There's no reason to trade if there's no trade. I have linked the Telegram in the channel. It is absolutely free if those of you that are watching that are new. I don't charge for anything. I don't have any courses. I don't have any signals or VIP groups or anything. Everything I do is free. It is in the channel for you guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out. I'll see you guys later tonight for Asia hours. Someone tag me if something happens with Ethereum, but I doubt it. In my opinion, I think we're looking at exhaustion points here, and we might see a move towards the downside. But again, Ethereum does its own thing all the time, so we'll see once the level breaks. All right, guys. Peace out. See ya.